Sierra Oscar Foxtrot, this is 614. Status check on podcast. I'll copy over.
614, this is Sierra Oscar Foxtrot. Roger, copy all. Podcast going live. Time now.
Hello and welcome. I am your host, Brian Stanfill, and this is yet another episode of Sierra Oscar Foxtrot, the podcast. Here with me today is David. It's not over, Daugherty. Not to be confused with Chris. It's not over, Daugherty. You're Dave. Daugherty. Tell me more.
They're both correct.
Yes. You know, I love it. No matter what answer you give, it's always an A.
You get an A, no matter what.
So, tell me more about you, sir.
Just like that, huh?
Just like that. We're jumping into this.
Okay, fine. Well, I was born a long time ago. Do you want the long story or the short story?
No, please. We're trying to keep. We're keeping this interesting.
Like I was born at Fort Bragg in Camp McCall and with a rucksack on my back, kind of thing.
No.
Not like.
Well, nobody's born there. You know,
I was born in a blue state.
They get pulled out.
And grew up like right next to the Kennedy compound.
Oh, okay.
And not many people joined the military or anything like that. It was just it's a little alcove of the world called Cape Cod. Which is one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
Wait a minute. Doesn't that require you to have an accent?
Except Cape Codders. New England, yes. But for some reason, the accent just kind of like blows right over us like the ocean. Yeah.
Build a fence around you?
I think it's isolation from the rest of the world.
Nice.
Or maybe because I just didn't talk much when I was a kid.
That's all right. Cook yourself, you know?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, no shit, there you were.
Yeah.
Cape Cod.
Yeah.
You're rubbing elbows with Kennedys?
Kinda.
Okay.
Like I don't think they actually acknowledged our presence or anything, you know, but
No?
yeah.
You're like out there as the paper boy trying to throw them newspapers?
So we'd be like, running along the beach and, there's like a little retaining wall, for when the ocean, pushes up on land a little bit more or washes over the beach at super high tides or storms or whatever. And then there's like an acre of grass and then there's their house with all the glass windows and stuff like that. It was like not a big deal. It's like, yeah, that's the Kennedys.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Glass windows.
Glass windows.
You can see everything.
In and out, probably. I don't think we were trying to look in all that much, though.
No?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. When I was in middle school, no shit, there I was. They had what they called a Mr. Donut at the end of the street from the middle school. Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard of that place?
My sister worked at Mr. Donut.
No way.
Before she joined the Air Force, yeah.
Was she at the one in Orlando, Florida?
Hyannis, Massachusetts.
Okay, because that was a topless donut thing.
She was.
I mean, I'm just saying that's the one that was at the end of our street.
No, she wasn't doing that.
No. But they had the windows in blackout on that one. You can see, I mean, like in the day, the school kids are walking by and we're all like, It didn't last long. They shut that down quick.
Yeah, I'm thinking that was just a Florida thing.
Must have been.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. There's crazy people in Florida.
That's true. That's a fact.
It's a fact.
Mm-hmm. Everybody in Florida is crazy.
Statistically.
Yeah.
Now I'll say that we drive like, Daytona 500. That's statistically, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
When you get on the I-4 interstate, it's to the races.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been to Florida.
I lived there, actually, for about 8 years.
8 years?
Mm-hmm.
See, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Where at?
Post-military, Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, okay.
Yeah.
I've done some things in Jacksonville, but I'm from Orlando.
Oh, you are literally a Florida guy.
Literally.
So you actually know about the everybody from Florida is crazy thing. You actually know that firsthand.
But at the same time, though, who really says they're crazy?
Not the crazy people.
Exactly. I'm not crazy.
Yeah, he's the only normal one.
Exactly. All those other people left and right of me, weird. I wasn't crazy.
Yeah, okay.
So, when and why did you decide to join the Army?
Yeah.
Was it 1770s?
It was. I was pretty old. I had, I was in, like the Continental Congress.
Yeah.
And I got tired of being a politician, and writing things like the Declaration of Independence.
So you dropped your wig.
I dropped my wig and picked up my M16.
Ah.
Yeah, as an infantry guy.
Okay.
So that was the beginning in the reserve, mind you. So
Yeah.
It was like, go to Fort Benning, spend 3 months going through who knows what in the world they do to you there, and then went home. So then I was home.
So why the Army, though?
because they were the only ones that would take me. How's that?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I tried the Air Force. They're like, yeah, come back next year, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If we really need somebody.
Oh yeah, I took the ASVAB. The Army was right out. Like, hey, because you remember your recruiters?
I remember a couple of them. I've had several.
You had several.
Yes.
Through the years.
I've been through different components, and I've been in the Air Force.
What?
Yeah.
You
didn't know that little factoid?
That's a factoid.
It
yes.
is in fact a toy.
This is a David the Daugherty. It's not over factoid.
That's right.
So tell us what.
There's more.
You get bored with one. You're like,
"What?
let's check out the Air Force. You know.
Yeah, kinda actually. So 9/11. You
Yep.
remember 9/11?
I was
I was on active duty as a full-time National Guard.
Okay.
SF medic, 18 Delta, assigned to USASOC, tasked out to USASOC surgeon as the National Guard liaison there.
Oh.
And 9/11 happened.
Okay.
So Fort Bragg, lockdown, the whole deal. And clearly we were going to war. And that's a great war story, by the way. My 9/12 experience, or more like 10/12 experience.
Yeah.
At Burger King on Fort Bragg, no shit, there I was, serious.
Well, let's go. No shit, there you were.
Okay, but we were talking about the Air Force, so we'll have to get back to that.
Okay.
All right, so
footnote.
So
yes.
I'm a brand new ODA guy, but that's really like a part-time thing because my National Guard unit is in the Rhode Island National Guard, and I'm living in North Carolina, and I have a full-time job at Fort Bragg, flying a desk.
So here's the question: who's your supply guy, and where did you get your Oakleys from?
Well, I had obviously had several supply guys and more Oakleys than I could wear at once.
Of course. This is where my Oakleys went. No, I had a couple pair of Oakleys, but I didn't have more than one supply guy.
This is what I learned from working in a direct command as my first assignment out of the Q course. Was the cooler you look, the closer you are to the command. Right, so if you are in the command at the 06 level, you are the coolest looking guy. That's how that works, because you have the closest connections to supply.
Yeah.
So,
well, I tell you, I mean,
be like, what's wrong?
Those supply guys are well dressed. I mean,
of course,
they can trick you. You're like, oh yeah, where were you at? I'm like, well, I was in a support company.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm like, no.
It makes sense now. That's why you look so cool. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So, wow. All right. So back to why. So you started out in the Army. You're like, yeah, National Guard, but you're SF National Guard.
SF National Guard. Now we're literally in the 9/11 era. I was already, itching as a young man, all the reasons that we go into an operator-like position because we want to prove ourselves or, all kinds of, stuff like that, childhood, all that stuff, whatever it is. Either patriotism or because your childhood was really messed up. Unless you're an officer, then it was just a logical thing. So, there I was, and I knew we were going to war, obviously. 9/11 happened. I'm like, okay, this is it. Everybody's going to get their turn, you know what I mean? And I was certainly, hungry for that type of experience. And I was, doing my desk job, and in early October, and went to Burger King at Fort Bragg for lunch. And, of course, it's packed out like it is at lunchtime.
Yeah.
And there's two SF guys about my age standing in line in front of me, and one of them had just gotten back from Afghanistan. So obviously he'd only been there 2-3 weeks. So he's obviously some sort of advanced party going there,
So this was
2001. This is October of 2001.
October 2001.
Yeah,
okay.
and I'm telling you, and this is leading to how I ended up in pararescue and all that stuff too.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so he's
that was a spoiler alert, by the way. He just
I just totally I just blew all the suspense, right? So why'd you leave SF? Because the PJs look way cooler than SF guys. That's why I did it. So
they got more expensive Oakleys.
Yeah, and several pair. You could just throw them away when you're tired of wearing them. Just throw them in the garbage.
After each mission, you're like, all right, on to the next.
Not far from the truth. Okay, so anyway, there I was in Burger King, October, and these two guys, they're E6s like me, obviously, junior guys on an ODA, and one of them had just gotten back. from Afghanistan, had obviously been some sort of advanced party, and he says to his buddy, he goes, "Dude, it's like the Wild Wild West," just like that. And I could just feel the adrenaline in my body, and I was like, "That's it. That's what I'm doing." It didn't matter. Like, I was working on my degree, I had a baby at home, newly married. Life was good. I mean, all I had to do was ride that train, and I'd be retiring as an E9, the whole deal. Everything was like laid out for me.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm going to war. And so I contacted a general who shall remain nameless.
Okay.
And said, I want to go on active duty. And no problem, and all that stuff. Well, nothing happened. And, and he was embarrassed by it, which is why I won't mention his name.
Gotcha.
But in the meantime, I've been, doing research and whatnot. And I thought, well, if I go to the Air Force and I go through all that cool training and get all those cool schools and the sunglasses to boot, I can still get myself assigned to an ODA if I go to AFSOC. So I could still do the SF mission, but be a PJ. That was kind of like my thinking at the time.
Okay.
Life didn't turn out quite that way.
Yeah.
But since I was National Guard, all I needed was permission from my National Guard unit, and I could do anything I wanted. It wasn't like a big deal to transfer.
Yeah.
And, frankly, in SF, like, if you want out, nobody wants you there. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, hey, I want to get out. They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Fucking beat it.
yeah, wow, they changed the lock on the exactly. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I was in the reserves. That's where I started.
Oh.
And it took 3 4187s to go active duty. I think the last one, the Sergeant Hull, she was the pack clerk, because I was a combat engineer. I think she just signed his name. She was like, yeah, you're good.
Oh, yeah.
You won't know in a month, it's 30 days,
That's right.
So, yeah, so that's how I got active duty.
Okay.
So, yeah, I know those things, the whole 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
But from the get-go, did you start out in the AGR slot the whole time active as a National Guard, or?
No, actually, my National Guard was sort of a convoluted, that was like 9 years into my, career as a reservist. So, and of course, Q course for a medic is, 2 years.
Well, yeah.
So by the time you finish the Q course, if you're a guard, if you're a guard guy, you're pretty used to, wearing the uniform and, living on, being on a military post and all that. So, but because I had settled in Fayetteville with wife and child and all that, by the time the Q course was done, I had those connections.
Yeah.
And so the position opened up. It was just an opportunity that I took.
Bam.
Bam.
And there you were.
There I was. Yeah.
So, okay. So you decided to join the Air Force.
Yeah.
Did you make it to the pararescue thing?
I did. I made it through and graduated and earned my Maroon Beret. I went to a large rescue squadron, and I was there for less than a month, and they were looking for volunteers to deploy. And I just, it's like, that's what I wanted in the first place. So I went to Afghanistan, K2 on the fixed wing mission, and then came home 3 months later, and 6 weeks later I was in Balad on the rotary wing mission in Iraq.
Okay. So was this around the 02 time frame, I guess, 03?
Yeah, because it was the end. Well, it was 03, 04, so it was the end of the year 03 by the time I got to the squadron and all that. So it was the end of 03 in Afghanistan, the beginning of 04 in Iraq, and then after my enlistment with the Air Force, I went back to the Army National Guard and ended up in Afghanistan with SF.
You're like, all right, guys,
all that, it's like,
high five, thanks for playing. Going back.
Pretty much.
Why go back, though? Why change?
It was, first, before I answer that question, I'm a little curious about who the audience is, because that will really tailor certain aspects of of what I talk about.
Well, this is a veteran show, basically, for all the veterans out there.
Yeah.
We'll allow some civilians, and conditionally, we'll consider the Coast Guard as part of the military. Conditionally.
Yeah.
Depends on the show.
Totally love bagging on the Coast Guard.
Oh, yeah, of course. You got to.
Absolutely. Department of Transportation like that.
I did meet some Coast Guard guys in Yemen, though. I was surprised to see them there.
Actually, the Coast Guard, when they end up in situations, it's the real deal.
Yeah. No, they were cool guys too.
Yeah.
You know, so as much as we bag on them, there's some cool guys in the Coast Guard.
They're okay.
Yeah.
They're kind of okay.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I should close my eyes when I'm on camera.
Oh, no.
But it helps me to think, though. Wait, let me think. Okay, I got it.
We edit. We can edit anytime.
That's good, too.
Yes.
Do you put, like, cool Oakleys on my face? Because I threw all mine away.
Oh. You can't do that.
PJs. We throw everything away.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But then you went back
supposed to throw out the last pair, and I forgot. That's the problem.
Yeah, I'm still wearing my shoes. I had to buy new Oakleys because mine were fucked up. But
Yeah.
yeah. What can I do? I'm a hoarder because I was a Charlie first, you know. Charlie by nature. So
Of course, you're by nature.
by nature, Charlie by nature. It's almost not naughty.
It's gonna be like
by
your
nature.
new sitcom. It's gonna be Charlie by Nature.
Charlie by nature. Yeah. Hey, you gonna use that? I want that.
Yeah.
I got a place. I got to put it over here. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But-
I forgot the question actually because I was thinking about.
It's old age. We both forget. Because I'm sure we're close to age, maybe.
Probably
I mean, I enlisted in '95.
90.
So okay, you got, but in 17, at age 17, 95.
Oh no, I was 20.
Oh, see, I'm 43.
Yeah. I'm considerably older than you. Actually.
Considerably.
Considerably, yeah. Like, you could be my kid.
Considerably, really.
So, all right, son.
Dad.
No, I'm 8 years older than you actually.
8.
Yeah.
Oof. I mean, you'd had a really. Were you hanging out with the Kennedys? And then I came along.
Yeah. So there was their fountain of youth that they tapped into. All that bootleg money that keeps them young.
There we go.
Yeah.
I just heard it was virgin's blood.
Yeah. That might have been happening. That might have something to do with the one-way glass windows and stuff.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Facing outward.
Facing out. Exactly.
So now the question was, why not stay in the PJs?
Why not? Yes, that's right. The
Right.
high-functioning, well-established, relatively successful guy you see here today wasn't
Yes.
always this way.
Okay.
You know, like
Hair was more disheveled.
was well, that was actually one of my signature appearances was like one chick that I worked with post-military called me the rooster because my hair was always like this all the time.
All right.
You know, I used to train medics at Marine Corps bases and stuff like that, so it was like, oh, that's the 18 Delta. I'd be like, hey, what's up, dude? My hair would be all like this and stuff.
Yeah.
So I could get away with it, but that was part of the attitude and stuff, which has to do with why after all this work and ending up in pararescue, why would I go back to SF? And along with that attitude was realizing I think I signed up for the wrong mission. Part of it was self-discovery because I'm very interested in people. I don't necessarily want to be around them all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm concerned, and I'm a guy that wants to help. And going to a third world country, I 1,000,000% endorse ending the life of bad guys. I really truly believe in that because some people, that's the only language they speak.
Yeah.
And they cause harm everywhere. And we're the good guys, and the bad guys should be dead.
Yes.
Well, there's also lots of good and decent people that are all around there, and that's important to me too. And in pararescue, we got to help quite a bit, but I really wanted to be on the ground. And that's when I realized I kind of made a mistake stepping out of my SF element and going into the search and rescue element.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get back on the ground.
Because it was guys all hanging around waiting for that thing to go. You're like, you got a mission? Just kidding.
Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, man. I had a temper back then.
Oh, just getting all. I can see you throwing your helmet. You're like, God damn it. I want to go out on a mission.
See fit? Yeah. Yeah, I was more like the guy, leave Dave alone because you don't know what's going to happen if you push too many buttons right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Got to be angry young men. I mean, that's.
Absolutely.
That's
the deal.
The markings of a great SF guy, being an angry young man.
Are you angry enough? They even give you an eval, right? Are you angry enough?
Yes.
Yes, you are. Okay, you can join.
I'll tell you. So no shit, there I was. This was 06 trip? Yes. We're running dangerously low on energy drinks.
Yes.
And, you know, I won't say we, I'll say the Afghan National Army guys had some questionable guys in their holding conics. But one of the guards just left them there, you know, and nobody was guarding them. And the door's open, and it's like, what the fuck? You know, somebody comes wake me up. So already I'm not happy. And my buddy Riley Stevens hands me an energy drink. He's like, here, Stanny, you look angry. I will shit you not, I never went a day without an energy drink the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah. Packing out for a mission.
Oh, yeah.
4 cases of energy drinks.
Oh, man.
Cases of
it was whatever we could throw on our
shots.
rucks. Yeah, yeah. And we did hands across Zangabad Gar that time. We were down in Panjwai, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, the Lions of Kandahar book. Yeah, I'm not in it. But
oh, excellent.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was on that team, but I was at a school when that happened.
Of course you were.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not even an honorable mention. You know, they couldn't have said, oh, yeah, you know, not even a conversation between, like, the other Charlie and, you know, somebody else be like, yeah, man, Stanny's back there at the school, you know. Nothing.
Not a word.
No. That's why I wrote my own book. I was like, fuck y'all.
See? Exactly. So you still have the attitude. That's good.
Oh, yeah.
That's
oh,
good.
yeah. Nah. Lots of books in my head. One day, they'll all get out.
That's a good idea.
One day. So far, I'm 1 1/3. Got 1 out. I'm on part 2, the 3rd. But
Part 2, the 3rd? Is
yeah.
that like your name?
No.
Brian Stanfill, Part 2, the 3rd.
Oh, no. That's how far along I am on part 2 of the book. The first one is The Receiving by B.A. Stanfill. Look it up on Amazon. But anyway, yes.
I was going to ask you anyway, so.
I know, it was coming. I was building up. That's the suspense build-up.
That's a great name.
No spoiler.
Yeah.
Which one, The Receiving?
Yes.
You know, my wife, she's the one who came up with that. I was going to go with a different story, different title.
Yeah.
I thought Inner Eye was like going to be a better title. But then she was like, no, got to do The Receiving. I was like, okay, all right.
No, she was right. Yours is confusing and hard to understand.
I guess so, yes. You know.
Yeah. When you say The Receiving, I immediately go, receiving what?
Exactly.
It's like you were the supply guy and you were receiving supplies, right?
Oh, no.
Oh, shit, there I was.
Actually, this one's about time theory and ghosts.
Really?
Oh, yes.
You were a man of mystery, sir.
Oh, yes. That's why, you know, the receiving what? Yep. Time theory and ghost.
Wow.
Look it up.
I'm intrigued. I don't even know how to say that, but now I have to find out.
Oh, yes.
Not just how to say it, but what it means.
It's all in the book.
It's in the book. What's the name of the book again?
The Receiving. Yes, The Receiving. And you have to, when you do Google it, there's like 10 million other receivings out there, I guess. Not unique, unfortunately, the title. But if you put in there with Stanfill, B.A. Stanfill, Brian Stanfill, any of those, you know, it'll pop up.
Okay.
Or go to my, business website. It's there too.
Which is
bastanfillconstruction.com.
So what's the second book?
But, you know, it's not about me. This isn't about me.
That's right, it's about me.
It's about you, sir. You know, and I could go on forever. But that was episode 1 origin story, which I didn't get that far. But, you know, yes, episode 1.
Cool.
So, about you, sir.
About me.
So you went back, you said, hey guys, I'm back. I traded in my maroon beret, put my green beret back on. Was that a challenging process? You got all the qualifications, so it was just a matter of,
You know what was like the most challenging was like day 1. I showed up at Camp Blanding, Florida, which is like a National Guard training.
Oh, yeah.
And I go to billeting and check in.
Yeah.
And I walk into my room, and it's cinder block walls and concrete floor, and I'm like, oh, I forgot. I just left the Air Force.
Yes. I'm not even getting paid for living here.
Yeah.
Horrible.
True story, man. Yeah. So you're right. I had to readjust to come back and all that, but you know, ODAs are the same no matter where you go and no matter what the people are.
Sure.
There's unique characters, but the dynamics are always similar. So yeah, I jumped right in.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bam. I'm going to take this time and let's plug in Veteran Harbor.
Yeah.
As I said on the previous podcast episode, Veteran Harbor, we're there to help. Helping veterans in need, providing them with solid ground, Currently, we have several projects going. Right now, the one that we are most emphasized upon is the Robert Lee Project. So please check it out at www.veteranharbor.com and go ahead and select the Robert Lee Project. I've got a micromentary on there. I'm trying to push that phrase, micromentary.
Nice.
It's a, what was it, like 12-minute little thing about him talking about himself and the situation he's in. So we are definitely there for him in the works. We're going to rescue his forlorn house and make it anew with the hopes of turning it into the very first Veteran Harbor house. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have that better solidified. Hopefully.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Yep.
Aside from that, we're still working with Veterans Treatment Court up there in Harnett County, and we're still working kind of sort of down there in Sumter County, but I don't know what's going on down there. We had a big meeting. We talked about, we showed our wares. We're like, hey, this is how awesome we are. And that was it, and then we came back up.
Okay.
Yeah. Ball's in their court.
What are you hoping that they're going to do?
Move forward with their project, hopefully. But the thing is, they don't have the money.
Is this the big school conversion project?
No, that's the Harnett County. So
Right.
the old Benton Haven School, we've pled our case to the council.
County commissioners.
Yes, but the head commissioner guy wasn't even there. So, and I haven't really heard anything about it after that. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But the one thing I do know is Mr. Robert Lee, we're going to help him out.
Yeah. That one's solid.
That is solid.
And going forward.
Yes.
So.
Also, we got some merch on the site, because any little bit helps. And if you could run around with a cool little Veteran Harbor t-shirt, that's even better.
Support the cause.
Support the cause. Mugs. We'll try to come up with some better stuff, though. This is the standard Veteran Harbor logo things.
You could follow some PJs around with trash bags.
Oh, yes. And then if I had a Veteran Harbor stamp, I'd just
That's it.
there you go. Veteran Harbor Oakleys. Yes. For limited time only, for as long as I know a PJ. How about a factoid? We love throwing the factoids out there. Random factoids, even.
Yeah. Go super random.
All right. Statue of Liberty. I'm not going to say who designed it because, he had a funny French name. But 1865 was when it was conceived. Got here in the 1880s. Mr. Eiffel was responsible for that, the guy who built the Eiffel Tower. And as well as Mr. Edison. Mr. Eiffel, Mr. Edison became good friends. So much, in fact, that Mr. Edison was helping Mr. Eiffel in his tower. And at the very top of that tower, right now, today, if you go up there, it's still open, there's this little wax museum thing with the Eiffels and Mr. Edison.
That to me is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I didn't know until I was up there. I'm like, who the hell's that?
It's an American.
I know.
The guy that invented the light bulb.
We give the French a lot of shit, and
It's fun.
Yeah, a lot of them were stuck-up assholes. But, maybe back then, though, it was cool. We were definitely, better buds.
Allies.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, we kind of, all, hated the Brits together.
Yes.
Kind of like that.
Oh, yeah.
But now we're friends with the
Yeah,
Brits.
they're like, you hate the British. We love you, hey!
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Here, have a pastry.
Yes.
And some coffee. You know your history.
Oh, I love history. History's fun.
It is.
You got any history?
It's doomed to repeat itself.
If you don't
Learn from
it.
I do understand that principle, that understanding history can help us to make improvements. In fact, it's almost impossible to make improvements if you don't have some history.
Yes.
Unless there's no history at all related to a topic, then you have to start history.
Or unless you're an officer and they have a great idea and then they go and seek wisdom from the more experienced and we tell them, no, it's a bad idea.
Right.
But they're like, well, let's do it just to prove that it's a bad idea so that we know not to do it.
Yes. The law of attrition.
And the lack of logic.
Which I thought they learned in officer school, but
No. Anything that requires an, OER bullet
oh, okay.
supersedes anything that requires logic.
Well, there's got to be a way to manipulate that to get what really needs to get the mission done, though.
My concern with the officers is that there's so much of a drive to, like, they have to do something in such short a time. Mm-hmm. They have to show where they put their mark. That if the shit's awesome, then they gotta fuck it up.
Right. So that they can change it and make improvements.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're like, oh, look what I did.
Yeah. So there's a thing, with everything that's happened in Afghanistan. And I don't know how it's affected you, but I'm definitely, one of those vets who went, you have got to be kidding me. This is happening right now.
Yeah.
Like after all this work. And there's this Marine Corps officer, Lieutenant Colonel Scheller.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And he demands accountability from his chain of command.
Yes.
So.
The judge went rather, I think, fair on him.
I think so too, and I think Scheller agrees as well. Like, he was essentially saying, look, I am going to, break some rules here because the greater good is more important. So he was being sacrificial.
Yes.
So, and he accepts his punishment.
What's interesting is, and maybe only because he made it so, like, out in the open, that could have saved him.
Yes.
Because, JAG works for the commander, not for anybody else. So,
Right.
that, politics. There shouldn't be politics in the military, but,
There should not.
I think it's just natural, inherent in human beings to have politics.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. You got to think, I mean, like, two little old ladies going to church, who's sitting closer to the pastor? I'm just saying, they could all be in their line. That one's got to be the one-upper.
Yep.
And who's hanging out with the pastor, and who's putting more in the tithe bowl.
So human beings we're just political by nature.
I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah. I haven't seen an apolitical person yet.
When it comes to any kind of organization, and I don't know how Veterans Harbor works as far as the board and all that stuff, but you have to be aware of this kind of stuff and just expect that human nature is going to rear its ugly head and have a good quality response to it. And it doesn't mean that people are bad people or good people. We're just going to do that kind of stuff. It's just natural.
Oh, yeah.
So having measures in place to counter the negative effects, I think that's just my opinion.
Firauka.
Do what?
Firauka?
Firavaka?
Firauka.
Firauka. Is that Russian for?
No, that's Arabic for in your opinion.
Yes.
So if you say if it's in my opinion, Firai. There you go.
Firai.
Welcome to Language 101.
Let me write that down.
This is Arabic.
Firai.
Firai.
Yeah.
There you go.
Opinion.
In my opinion. So what languages did you learn? So as you were 19th or 20th grouper?
I was 19th in the Q course.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then before
when you went to
yeah. So that was French.
French.
Yeah.
And then coming back.
No.
Stick with it.
I did kind of regret that a little bit, but I think what I took with it was it opened up my brain, my awareness that there are people in the world that see things in a completely different way. Because even French being Latin based and English being Latin based, there's a lot in common. Like they're called linear languages.
Yeah.
Still, some things are placed in different sections of the sentence and whatnot. It was like, okay, well, if I'm lining up, my adjectives and predicates and all that in a different order than the French, that means that the French are seeing the world in a very different way. So that opened me up to like the intercultural stuff that happens, on deployment.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So how many times did you get deployed, I'll say?
With the military, a total of 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
Were they all fun?
Yes.
Yes. No.
No. I mean, there's fun and not fun.
Yes.
Both.
What would you consider like? Because as a National Guard, you guys went as a sole unit, or did you support like another?
I went as part of a battalion.
Okay.
20th group.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you transitioned to 20th.
I did.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I knew a bunch of 20th group guys.
Yep.
Because, half of them went to school.
That's right.
So I'm a college kid once, and they got long tabs, and I'm like, hey,
Yeah, what's up?
I tell you, I said in the previous one, there's always been some long tabber in my time,
No kidding.
Yeah, first sergeant in reserves was a long tabber.
Okay.
All the 20th groupers in Florida.
Yep.
In the 82nd, there was some long tabbers. 40th Engineers in Germany was a long tabber. It's just crazy. So it was like predestined.
Yeah.
Almost didn't. I took the scenic route. Had to go to the selection twice.
That's always fun.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. Well, at that point, it was like 8 years have transpired, and I've had enough of the regular Army. I figure 8 years was enough to determine whether I liked it or not. And I'm like, yeah, it's SF or get the fuck out.
That's it.
And they're like, hey, congratulations. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm in.
That's
And
it.
then at that point, it's like, well, you ride it to the end.
Ride or die.
That's right.
Yep.
So you retired. Yes? Kind of, sort of?
Yeah.
Pseudo?
Well, like I said, there are many elements to my story. So,
Tell us more.
well, honorably discharged and served honorably. I put in almost enough years to retire, but I kind of hit bottom.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, things got pretty messed up for me. And so I told my chain of command, and that pretty much ended my involvement with the military. So I started going to school. I'm a guy, like they say, in recovery or whatever.
Mhm.
I had to stop drinking.
Gotcha.
I had to quit entirely, completely, not a drop. That's who I am today. So, teetotaler.
So, because of some of the deployments you've gone on,
That had to do with it. I'm not a guy who will say, the military is what messed me up and all that stuff. And pretty much, I was born with a pretty much messed up, deck of cards to start with. So, which is more to do with why I went into the military in the first place.
Yeah.
Thinking like, oh, this is going to straighten me out.
no?
Not so much. I mean, it definitely set me up for success in a lot of ways, but I didn't figure all that out while still serving. It had all kind of come to a head, at the end of my military career. So I did not get in trouble, much.
Yeah.
So I came out clean, but it was definitely a wake-up call. Like, I thought I was a pretty good guy, but, there's quite a few people that would disagree with that at the time. So, and that was a wake-up call. And I realized I was wreaking havoc, destroyed my own family, all that kind of stuff. And we hear that a lot, lots of divorces and, alienated kids, and I did all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I tell you, I mean, it's easy to go down that slippery slope with the alcohol, especially the alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, what else are you drinking at a team party? And then on deployments, not that I know of,
No.
there's no alcohol on deployments.
Especially working with the Europeans, that never happens.
No, but I'll tell you, in Yemen, and this was something that the wife was like getting on me about, because you do a lot of social events,
That's right.
and there is booze
And expectations.
and expectations. So, there's that. Oh shit! You take a step back. You're like, I'm getting a little too much here. And yeah, I had to dial it back. So that's where you start developing those survival habits. You're like, I got one beer and I'm going around.
That's right.
Hey,
Look
what's
at
up?
me drinking.
Yeah, And then 2 beers max. But at the same time, that's it. And then you're like, still got your wits about you.
Yeah.
You don't end up like other people, who get crazy and are standing naked on top of, the diplomats' cars. Yeah.
What?
Nah, I don't. That's a crazy story.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you would never do anything like that.
I never did. I know people who have, we'll say.
You shall remain nameless.
Yes. So, Department of State and Department of Defense, they don't get along well. And when you think you're getting along well, that's when they're going to get you. So always stay on your P's and Q's.
Yeah.
That's a lesson. Something for all you guys who are still out there doing these things.
Well, there's a war story for you. So now I'm this guy in recovery. I'm like a year and a half, maybe 2 years sober. And, I need money. I'm going to school and stuff and things are good, but sometimes you need a little extra money or whatever. And I ended up on like a 3-week contract to a country in Africa, training their military, teaching, medicine to military. Now it is a State Department mission, but it's really like a military type of thing, right? So you know how that goes. Yeah. Well, I get there and they're like, okay, there's a bunch of soldiers that are supposed to be medics. Teach them, Yeah. No equipment, no curriculum, absolutely nothing. So we're building from scratch. And at that point, my skill set was really kind of like what at the time they might call sort of the leading edge of combat trauma. So it was like, back in the day, it was like airway, breathing, circulation. And then we're like, no. Massive bleeding, and then we'll worry about the airway in a couple minutes, kind of thing. So the Army wasn't at that point yet. Big Army, regular Army. So here I am, this SF guy in a third world country, teaching these guys like, massive bleeding first, and these 2 doctors, active duty doctors, kind of showed up out of nowhere, and they're sniping from the back row, and they're like, what are you doing there? This is wrong. In the middle of my class with like 30, Burundi, soldiers, and they're like, you're wrong, kind of thing. So, and it was that way, like they stayed for the whole duration of me building this curriculum through 2 translators and everything else going on. And so I was socializing with them after work one day. We were at a restaurant and eating dinner. It was a low table, like a coffee table that we were eating at. Yeah. And this young lady, she's an MD, like a major, and she starts like saying weird stuff about like getting wild or something like that. And I'm like, this smells like a trap, Yeah. And she's like, you're such a good-looking guy. Like, you should dance on the table. and I'm like, what? She's like trying to get me to make a fool of myself, and I don't know, record it or something like that to try to get me tossed out. So they can record, I guess. Yeah, exactly. So, but what they weren't expecting was like, I'm not that old, guy who might have just done that for a chance to, get in her pants. A few years before, I'm like this sober guy who's trying to do things the way it's expected of me, So it was like, I don't think that they were expecting that. They were thinking that I was just going to jump at the first chance of them saying it's okay to be crazy.
Well, yeah. I think the first honest reaction should be, well, you first.
I wasn't even thinking about that. I was like so concerned about how often they were attacking me. Yeah, I didn't have the counter offense plan going on. No. Probably be a sharper guy.
Yeah. You're like, well, you first.
Yeah. No, exactly. Right? Yeah, blackmail.
Exactly. Yeah, I know where you're trying to go with here. We can do that too. You know.
So.
Yeah, that's and that's crazy because that's the reverse. That's a crazy reversal right there, because normally it's...
I was feeling kind of like meat thrown into a meat market. Like I was really feeling objectified,
So you are retired, more or less? I keep saying retired, but sure. Military retired.
Yeah.
No more military stuff.
No more military.
So what are you doing now?
A bunch of stuff. It's a little complicated, but for the last 10 years, my life has been about veterans and helping veterans, and kind of like the ones that are doing the worst, those are the ones that I'm able to help the most.
Yes.
So, and I've done a lot of that, kind of transitioning now into some other things, which sounds really ambiguous as I'm trying to describe it. I was recently with the Veterans Court that you mentioned, with Veterans Harbor, is helping the Harnett County Veterans Treatment Court, which I am in FIRAE, yes. In my opinion, is going to be a really big program.
Gotcha.
So the Hardin County Veterans Treatment Court, they're helping, maybe 10 or 15 veterans at a time, and I think one day in the next couple of years they're going to be helping like 50 veterans at a time. And think about that. That's like 50 families, and these are the worst of the worst, right? The ones
Yes.
that shooting dope and getting arrested for bad stuff.
And I think there's always the bad connotation. Would you say bad connotation?
Yeah.
The implication that those poor combat vets and stuff. I would say we're looking at the 1 percentile of guys that we're trying to help.
Yeah.
I mean, 99% of the guys out there are just like us. We've had our licks and we've learned from them, and we're moving forward in a positive way. And I think, for the most part, veteran society out there is pretty well to do. It's just we're trying to pick up those guys, at the end of the run.
Yes.
And they're like staggering around.
In my opinion, they do deserve a chance, and I think that there's a lot to work with. You definitely have your criminal element. Like, all right, this is a career criminal. This is not somebody who qualifies for like a rehabilitation program or whatever.
Yes.
But most of them, they had some rough backgrounds, going in. Mm-hmm. They made it through the military. They struggle with transition from active duty or from the military into a fully civilian world. I think anybody getting out of the military goes through that, no matter whether you're predisposed to, doing bad stuff and getting into trouble or not. Everybody struggles with that on some level.
Oh yeah, it's the hardest part. Like, what do I do when I grow up?
Exactly.
And some people are just lost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
I wasn't. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, not at all.
No, I knew exactly. Oh yeah, it was like I Superman right on out.
Yeah, that's it. Now look at me. I got like 6 companies.
Yes, just right around. Company here, company there.
I'm building employment opportunities for other veterans.
Yes, try. And I've got a few now. I really only 2 guys are not veterans.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll enlist either though.
No. Well, you need your like token civilians to mix it up a little
exactly.
bit.
Tell us what it's like on the outside.
What are normal people like?
Yes. But that's construction. You're gonna get an interesting allotment of people.
Yeah.
So, when I recall, you were doing Camp Hope, and then you went from Camp Hope to Hardin County Veterans Treatment Court?
I actually was doing both.
Doing both.
And they both kind of ended at the same time.
Okay, what happened to Camp Hope, guys?
Camp Hope is doing great,
okay.
Actually. So, and the parent organization is PTSD Foundation of America. And Camp Hope is like the 9-month deal for like the worst of the worst, that are really struggling. They've got everything that those guys need.
Yeah.
So, and it is a friend of mine has taken over, actually.
Okay.
He's now the president, and he's implementing a lot of good changes, and that program is just going to keep getting better and better. And
nice.
It's free.
Nice.
So, and that's a good, thing to plug because somebody's struggling right now.
And I do know that the guys over there at the Veteran Treatment Court do send people to Camp Hope.
Yes.
Which is in the middle of nowhere in Texas, I think.
Yeah, northwest corner of Houston.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of the middle of nowhere.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty isolated deal for a while.
Surrounded by migrants.
True, actually, and 18-wheelers.
And 18-wheelers.
It's an industrial area.
There we go.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so it's that was the thing. Like, I did a lot of work with veterans like that are the worst off or whatever, and was definitely burnt out from it. I did a lot, and I kind of need to feed my own soul now.
Yeah.
Whatever. So, I have a little nonprofit that I started, and we work with. Like select folks that either come out of like special operations community, intelligence community, or certain specialties within law enforcement. We pick these folks out and help them like with whatever purpose that they find, like really fits for them. Like, for example, this guy that worked, undercover for a long time. He's a martial artist, like high level, and so instead of he's been building schools and doing all the dojo stuff and all that. Now he has a nonprofit.
Okay.
And he uses martial arts to help certain folks that struggle with trauma, who can't like find their way into, a school because it's like too much people and all that stuff. So that's just one example.
Okay. What is the name of your nonprofit?
It's called Tikkun Pastoral Foundation. So
Tikkun
means it's Hebrew. So, or Jewish, if you will.
Yeah.
It means reparations. So, Tikkun Ulam means to repair the world. So that's kind of what we're doing is we're taking things that are broken and restoring them and making them better than they were before.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
How'd you get that?
I'm a Messianic Jew.
Nice.
So my mother was Jewish. I was a Christian, and then when I realized that both of these things actually do fit together, so that's when I started practicing Messianic Judaism.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, I was a Jew growing up.
Oh, you were?
I was.
Oh, okay. So you're not a Jew anymore.
You
You've
know.
been, like, excommunicated?
No.
You resigned.
Well, it's...
Sent a letter to the rabbi, like, here's my yarmulke.
Really didn't have a
Done with
rabbi. I mean, I did a Zeder once. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Like, if I were to practice a religion, see, that's the thing, I'm not practicing anything.
Yeah.
But if I were to practice, I'd stick with being Jew,
Yeah.
Judaism. Because we know the Jews know how to party. I mean...
Fact.
Yes. I mean, you're talking wines...
Oh, yeah.
Toasts to everybody, and you're leaving one staring at it longingly, but you got one.
That's right.
Over here for this. What's the name of the guy that you always keep one for?
Oh,
For the Zeder.
Oh my gosh, not Isaiah. Yeah.
Is it a Zeder?
No.
I don't know. We're horrible Jews, sorry.
Bad Jews.
But I stopped practicing a long time ago.
Elijah.
Elijah, yes.
Oh, God, man.
Save one for Elijah. That's right. So yes, so I've dabbled and I've deliberated.
Yeah.
And personally, for me, I'm just like, religion. There's 10 million out there. Nobody knows who's right.
Yeah.
However, Jews got the corner on being the oldest, monotheistic anyway.
That's true.
So I give them that, and they know how to party.
Yeah. And you recognized the word tikkun. At least I can see it on your face. You're like, oh.
Well, honestly, I mean, I'm looking for some sort of Arabic derivative, because I got the Arabic going.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, but there's really no relation as far as I can determine.
No, that's
at
because
the
they're
moment.
mean and they just break stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't repair the world. They just
No.
break it. I'm kidding.
Yes. Just we'll rewind this and put a little,
Put a little ticker tape on the bottom, like
Exactly.
David's just joking.
Yes.
So-
Everything we said was just in jest right here.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That means we like you, actually.
Exactly. We're everybody's friends. Everybody must like us. Really.
Except for bad guys. We only want you to like us.
We
It's
like
easy
the
to kill
bad
you.
guys. We like you, bad guys.
Yes. Everybody's
Just stand up. Be recognized. Let us find you. Let us know.
Applause.
Yes. So that's cool. And how long have you been working with the Tikkun thing?
We started 3 years ago, and it's just now gaining some momentum.
All right. Website? Plug it?
Not quite. We kind of like to fly a little bit under the radar, not looking for big donations or anything like that, to be honest with you.
All right.
Now, where you could donate, and we do, maybe you can stick it on your website or something later, is one of our guys came out of Force Recon, and he has opened up a veteran halfway house in Huntsville, Texas,
Okay.
called Veterans and Patriots United.
Okay.
So, and that's a DBA under Tikkun.
All right.
So people can donate to that.
It's there. Yeah.
Just click on the button right there. Veterans and Patriots United.
Awesome.
Awesome.
They need your help.
They do.
Website below.
Nice.
All right. There we go. See, that was easy.
Yeah.
And that's what you're continuing on. Do you see yourself going back? I mean, I think you stay in touch with everybody in these other organizations.
Yes, absolutely. I do. But you know what? My life is actually going in yet another direction.
Oh.
So Tikkun is...
Dancing?
I used to. When I was a kid, I did theater.
Okay.
Yeah, so dancing, singing, the whole bit.
Bam.
So play guitar, drums, clarinet. Sorry, squirrel.
Oh, yeah, squirrel. Well, that was my squirrel. I threw it out there.
Wow, are you messing with me, man?
Kinda.
Because I'm a medic, so I sort of like... I'm not gonna have
Well, I was keeping, the fingers and butts. I wasn't even gonna bring that up. Fingers and butts. All right.
So you want that war story?
No, tell
Our
us.
class leader was a SEAL, and he was like, "All volunteer, my turn." Dropped trowel, and the instructor was a female, so he was, digitally examined by a female army soldier
Okay.
in
Nice.
front of 50 guys.
Not
But it was the
awkward.
Navy that actually wanted that, not the Army. I'm just saying.
Yes.
So,
That goes without saying, really.
Yeah.
The Navy's. Yeah. Enough said. You didn't even bring out a factoid, though.
Me? I thought that was your job.
Oh, you got to have a factoid, too.
The thing about Edison.
Yeah, that was my thing. What's your thing?
All right, so there was a guy who came around many years after Thomas Edison by the name of Marconi.
Okay.
And
okay, go ahead.
Not macaroni.
Not macaroni.
He wasn't Italian.
Not Kraft.
Well,
Marconi.
he established the first transatlantic communication
Okay.
from Wellfleet, Massachusetts to, I don't know, Portugal or something.
It's the closest place.
Yeah, exactly. So they set up a transmitter and receiver station on Cape Cod, and the same thing in Portugal or someplace in Europe. And then the first time a radio signal ever went all the way across two-way was what, like 1800s sometime.
Nice.
Okay.
So was this radio or was this like Morse code, like telegram? Well, I mean, radio being broadcasted through the air.
Oh, I would say more like Morse code.
Morse code. All right.
Yes.
So they ran that little cable thing going all the way across.
All the way across the ocean. That's the factoid, in fact.
That's the factoid.
Yes.
Wow. Some of those cables I heard was like pretty big.
I imagine.
Yeah. I mean, depends on whose cable you're looking at, but some people have Whopper Jr. hands, and the cables.
Well,
I'm just.
the smart aleck, Brian, is starting to come out towards the end of the show.
Toward the end, I was here all along.
I'm just becoming aware of it. So.
All right. Well, I think. Anything else you want to throw out there?
I'm having fun. Let's go another hour.
Oh, another hour. Oh, I'm getting bad looks over there. I don't think they want us to go another hour.
Better not.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have here. Thank you for tuning in to the Sierra Oscar Foxtrot podcast. I'm here once again with my friend Dave
Daugherty.
He
wanted to say it right.
It's not over.
It's not over.
Not Chris Daugherty.
Not even close.
Cousins? No.
He's not even invited to.
You're better than him.
meetings.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't get Oakley's.
He didn't even get enough to throw them away.
That's true. That's true. Stay tuned for our next episode coming in, 15 days or so. Yeah, anticlimactic right there, buddy.